Yo, what's going on, party people? It's the kid, the one and only L Wavy Baby himself. Tapping in with y'all one time for the one time from Wavo World. Digging what I'm saying? So, thank y'all as always for tapping in, from day one until, of course, today and many days ahead. Digging what I'm saying? Um, as always, we're gonna jump straight into it. Alright. So, today's vibe, recognizing spiritual interactions, and number two, the distractions are more noticeable. The first two kind of go hand in hand. That's why there's a big one drawn on the other side. Then there's they hate what they can't be, but they will use it. And there's a dash in between it with a two because they kind of go hand in hand as well. And number four, ultimately preparation. Now, I'll be honest, I don't know how none of that got on the board, even down to the order. So if I kind of jump around in spots, based on the nature of conversation today, all I can say in advance is I do apologize, but try to keep up with me. So let's start with recognizing spiritual interactions, right? That probably could also been titled becoming aware spiritually, or opening that third eye, right? But being able to see beyond, more or less, right? And the reason why I could have been titled all of those things is because once you do, begin to travel this journey and really allow yourself to see, things are no longer just what they seem to be in regular interaction. And that's why I'm gonna end up jumping around so much. Man. So yeah, let's try to keep that composed and compiled for a second. So when initially first really coming into consciousness, I actually had a little homie tell me this the other day. The more we keep talking about certain things and having certain conversations, he's just telling me he's able to see it in real time. What I've been telling people a lot lately and having more of an engagement with is that, yeah, I'm having a human existence. I'm having a human experience on this earth. But as I come more into consciousness, I'm very aware that there's something within this body, which is spirit. So I have more of an interaction with that amongst people than I do human interaction. And it's not because I'm looking for it. It's not because I'm assuming that, I'm just having to have it, or it has to be this way, or I'm not just actively trying to see it this way, but I can no longer see it any other way, right? Being that the eye is now just open. And the more that I practice and meditate and just really talk to that side of self, the stronger it becomes, obviously. And again, as I was having certain conversations with my little partner, it was just back up to say, for me, I don't really have more human interactions with people anymore, because I'm aware that we're all spirit. We're all part of spirit. And I use the saying, I am you, you are me, so often, to the point where whatever it is that I personally may be seeing or going through or dealing with within myself, it is so large now. It's vibrating so high, so heavy from a spiritual pretext or context or sense, that it'll follow me, whether it be for the good or for the bad, right? And it's like that even before having these realizations, but as you can see it, you know how and how not, or when not, to engage with it. And it's like, that's more or less the basis of what I'm trying to describe, right? So, for example, me and little bro and a friend of ours, I just put it like that for sake of names. I don't like to name drop like that. Having conversations about consciousness and just really vibrating high in conversation, just bouncing off things and passing on things and experience from one to the other, whether it be, nobody's looking at each other or at any one person like we're teaching anything. We're learning from each other in these conversations. And it's just like, we'll recognize that the energy will get so high, like in things that we're grasping, like right then and there in real time, like just learning and just it's kind of like the saying goes of, God is in all things, right? Really honing that principle. Now, what I mean by recognizing spiritual interactions is that, say I had a thought or I had a situation that posed a question or a problem 2-3 days ago. I'm dealing with it amongst myself, and I'm not really vocal or external about what it is. But the more I focus on it, the more I meditate on it, which is just sitting deep thought on the idea of whatever it is, we'll be in conversation with someone and you're not even mentioning anything about what it is that you're thinking of or going through or trying to press through or trying to figure out. And they'll speak directly to what it is and give you an answer. That's what I mean. That's what I mean by, recognizing spiritual interactions, really regularly. So now, what I also noticed, and what he's noticed too, it's like, and I'll speak more for me than I will for him. Again, he's not here to speak for himself, but he probably will be one of these good old days, right? But what I've noticed is that I've reached a certain vibration to where there are certain energies that recognize that they can't tag along to my frequency. Like, I'm a type of person, yes, I get frustrated. Yes, I get angry. Yes, my emotions. Yes, I still have emotions. Let's just say that. However, how I manage them based on me now having a conscious nature of mind, isn't like what most people are used to, especially with me now visually being aware of certain energies, of certain spirits trying to grab a hold of me and take me out of certain vibrations, right? And again, it isn't always, through person, but that's how spirits work most frequently and most often and most diligently, should I say, is through people. Most efficiently, that's the word, but either way, all of those words do coincide with what I'm saying. So again, it's like me vibrating from a certain sense of view now. There's certain energies and vibrations that won't even fool with me, but will try to project it, in a certain way so that I feel not just disincluded, but disrespected by the nature of dismissiveness unto me, right? But also said and to say, me knowing that I'm very, very, not just strategic, but we'll use that word for sake of another word hits me right now. But I'm very strategic about intentional, should I say. I'm very intentional about not entertaining certain energies when I read certain things off of it. I don't entertain negative energy externally because internally you deal with enough of it. That's me. So it's like when I see people trying to externally give me negative energy, no matter what it is, I shut it off completely. Especially when I know personally I'm going through stages of whatever at that moment that's trying to have a hold on me. So the following that it's doing is trying to seep in another way when I'm already fighting it in this one way within self, trying to just place me further in the hole. So again, I don't and I don't mean it in a way of being rude, but at the same time, some people do know what they're doing intentionally, right? Again, a lot of this is just spiritual nature and spiritual interaction. So you'll have people trying to come put the juju on you. They can read it on you sometimes that you're dealing with self. But again, in most cases, because you are conscious, they're not even doing this on purpose. And a lot of times it has nothing to do with them, right? So I hold no grudge against people, really against no one, when I know the nature of spiritual battle that I'm dealing with on a regular and day-to-day basis, right? So again, going back to something I mentioned, that becoming conscious, being into metaphysics, being metaphysical, being alchemical, being an alchemist, whatever you want to call this lifestyle, it isn't a place to hide. It isn't a place to run and just think that you're shielded in a way just because you now lead a certain life. It's now all magical and pixie dust and fairies. It's not like that. If anything, it's a step more difficult because most of us come from one religious background or spiritual belief or another, where we're taught a certain system, and then becoming conscious is learning that it's so many other things in spiritual knowingness or spiritual prowess to be aware of, to protect yourself, so and I probably won't say it directly as it's written, but he who knows is not responsible. You know what I mean? You're held way more accountable once you have a knowingness and a knowledge of what truth is, or what is actually going on. So it's that type of thing once you enter this realm. But yeah, moving on to really lumping them together, the distractions become more noticeable. And I'm gonna actually speak on this in a couple different ranges and ways, right? So stemming from what I was just speaking on between, me and my little homie and another friend of ours, she's very spiritually adept as well. She'll probably end up sitting on the sofa with me too eventually. As soon as I get the functionality to do so, so thank y'all to everybody who's been reaching out, wanting to come talk and speak to me about a couple different things, to throw things back and forth, to make these a little more impactful, really a lot more impactful. Dialogue instead of monologue is always a little more helpful for these type of podcasts, should I say, but whatever. But yeah, noticing those distractions. So when we're having a certain high frequency of conversation, as I mentioned earlier, and we get to a certain spot where it's just clicking and it's hitting, and certain things are just answers are coming to us that we didn't tell each other about in nature of what we're dealing with, but she may say something that that impacts me that I'm dealing with, or I may say something to him that hits him in a specific way, or the two of us onto her, like just things of that nature. And like this is just back and forth going on for 10-20 minutes, like in sense of that portion of the conversation or that portion of information just being dropped in jewels and gems, and out of nowhere something or someone completely random will come and interrupt that. And it's like immediately being able to see, like, where this come from. This isn't the same frequency we were just on. And why did you come with something that has no relevance to the nature of conversation we're having, to the nature of energy we have going right now? And then not even 9 times out of 10, 10 times out of 10, it's right in the middle of a transition of information, like a transition of conversation into something that one of us some way, somehow were looking for, or even or stop it right in the middle of someone getting something out, like something that was very, very necessary to one of us at that moment, right? And it's like if there isn't a large focus directly on what we were speaking on, or there isn't a protection of that vibration or frequency that we're on, meaning like genuinely holding that, like one of us thinking of it while that person is thinking of it, while handling whatever that distraction is in that moment. You see what I mean? Like a cooperative effort at that point to keep that frequency going. The distraction sometimes it's I wouldn't say that it wins, but the distraction sometimes does its job just enough for that to be missed. And the reason why I have this book here is because, speaking on what I just spoke on, if I can remember it without cracking it open, the book is Hidden Power by James K. Van Fleet. I've actually been I've been recommending this book to people for a while. Everybody that's been bumping into me. I actually just got it back from a friend. And I don't think she finished it, so we did a trade. I let her, I asked for it back, gave her one, right? That's just the type of thing I'm on. I'm not hiding this info if you into it, right? But it was just funny because we expect the spirit to speak to us in certain ways. Like, we expect the cloud to come down and a man, and I'm gonna say it like that because that's how we've been taught to be, sitting on it, give us the answer we need and float back up, and it just isn't like that. The reason why they said God is omnipotent is because he's in all things, he's everywhere, based on that principle. So if he's in all things, he's in all people. So you have to be really willing to open your ears up, especially when you're asking for things or you're asking for answers. You're asking for answers for questions, or you're asking for answers to questions and problems that you're having, and you're expecting a miracle. They say God works in mysterious ways. You have to have, your spirit open to any way that he can speak to it. So in this book, chapter 2, it talks about how your subconscious speaks to you, right? And I'll give the example through me. I'm the type of person where anything I do, I do it full-fledged. I do it full force, like 1,000 miles an hour. There's no stopping me. I'm pushing ahead, brick wall, cement wall. I go to war with whoever behind whatever I'm trying to do. But once I get to a point where it's like it's not making sense or it's not working out a certain type of way, and I'm getting burnt out with trying to prove the point behind, being persistent, I'll stop. I don't care what nobody has to tell me. Like, I don't care how big they say of an impact I've had with whatever it is, and it doesn't matter. Whatever impact that it means to them, if it hasn't hit me how I feel as though it's supposed to, I'm done. And I'm stubborn like that to a degree. However, me now knowing what I know, our subconscious is stubborn like that. So we can't force it to do anything. Just like they say, God comes right on time. It may not be there when you want him, but it'll be there right on time. That's the nature of what I'm discovering, or really have discovered, about your subconscious and how it works, and the nature of becoming conscious, and which is really putting it on the mind of God. So it's identifying the problem, all of the solutions that it could possibly bring, or going over solutions in your mind that you could do, or use, and going over all the possible tangents that those different solutions to that possible problem could give you. And then it's like, once none of them work, or once you feel as though, or if you feel as though none of them are the best option, turning it over to God, which is your subconscious mind, and allowing it to just flow, more or less, just forgetting about it, so to say. Almost getting to that point of frustration, because you've thought of every idea, you've thought of every way to, overcome the issue, and it just hadn't come up fruit. Once you get to that point, not even giving up, but literally saying, you know what? I don't have it. I don't know what it is. I don't know what to do. I turn it over. I turn it over to you, right? To spirit. And the expression, sleep on it. It might not come that night, but really being tuned in enough to allow it to come in and dream. If it hits you in the dream, and one of them things where it's like, it's so vivid, it's so deep. You could feel it, you could see it. It's almost as if, the dream is lucid enough for you to be right there in that moment. If it's not a dream, again, it's going out and about and just interacting with the people and things, and then that draw of energy goes to that one person that you either never spoke to or don't even know, or that that homeless person over there, like literally, and having that interaction with them, and they give you that gem, that jewel that you needed. It's those type of things, and for myself, again, using myself for the example, most recently I've just gotten extremely frustrated with a lot of different avenues I was trying musically with things. We can talk about how long I've been doing this thing, and then some of the not even like reward I feel like I should have from it, but some of the portfolio I feel should be more built in my tenure, right? It's like trying to understand and trying to rebuild my mindset around not only why, but how to do it different to make it a better outcome, because I know this is what I'm supposed to be doing. If it wasn't what I was supposed to be doing, I wouldn't be this good at it. And I'm coming to that notice, really to that realization, as people are telling me, as I had the ideas and thoughts about saying, you know what, F it, I won't do this no more, And it's like, as I'm going through that, because I can't figure out how to get through this wall, get over this Achilles heel. It's like the more thought I put toward, you know, not quitting, but the more thought I put toward how do I do it, the more thought I put toward what do I do, the more thought I put toward different strategies of marketing. When I tell you, just out of the blue, it hit me. I won't say what it is that I need to do, but I know what to do. That's just all I can say. But I had a course of dreams. And through those course of dreams, I know that, again, thanks to Brother Panic, the subconscious speaks to you through trauma, repetition, and symbols. And I know that dreams are full of symbols. And one particular dream that I had was that I wasn't a kid again, but I was a fully grown adult. I might have been a couple years older than what I currently am. And I just went home. Like, I went to visit Louisiana for a little while, but there's like events going on, like not necessarily homecoming events, but like events where all those older years of graduation classes link up, and there was a baseball tournament, obviously. Now, not that I don't remember the whole tournament, because for whatever reason, my dream starts. I don't remember if I'm at bat or walking up to bat, and I walk up to the first base coach, which is a guy I remember from high school, was a couple years younger than me. And I just go up to him, shake his hand, tell him it's good to see him. And I told him I respect everything he's done and become, and I'm proud of him, And I could say his name. I think he'll be fine with that, Doug. I'm just seeing like the road he's traveled and the trajectory that he's chosen to go and live on just was dope to me. And I've always wanted to tell him that, but I guess my dream was a way of me telling him that at that time, or in that timely manner. And it's like, man, talking about me, man, you. And again, you can never see yourself, like, just like now, you can't see the look on your face that you have. I don't know what I look like to you guys, and I don't spend that type of time in the mirror to try to know that, so to say, either. So, but I could feel the energy that I felt like whatever it is that I needed to do with life, I had done it. And it was just funny because two of the outfielders, I walking up the first base, so the right fielder and the center fielder run up to me, and I don't remember one of their faces and names like so clear as I remember the other. Actually, I do. One of them, one of the closest guys that I'd ever really grown up with, Brandon Spear, white guy. Called him Cuz. We were like cousins back in the day, like how much we were around each other. And Vigilant. I just remember seeing their faces, and it was just like, man, didn't expect you to do what you did, but we're glad you took your route in life. That's so awesome, dude. Proud of you, man. And it's just crazy because I've been hearing a lot lately in real life that people are proud of me, and it doesn't resonate the same because I don't understand or grasp quite what they're saying it for. But sometimes not even that confirmation is necessary. It's like that energy that you need before you even step into that realm, that aura, that place, that room that you've been set up for. Is what you need in order to be able to accept that when it do come, And I remember waking up, and that was like the last dream. I won't get into the other two, but that was the last dream before I woke up with this idea. And I'm like, oh man, that's it. No, that's it. And just as soon as I thought it, I just started tapping in and locking in with people who I knew not only would confirm it, but help the idea flourish how it needs to when it's time to embark upon that side of the journey too. So when you talk about allowing your subconscious, allowing the spirit to speak to you, how it's necessary to speak to you, it literally will talk to you in ways that you wouldn't even think it would come to you, but you have to allow it to do that. So again, recognizing those spiritual interactions, not allowing the distractions to seep in so hard to where you're getting certain informations that you can't grab it how it's necessary of you, right? And then part of what this book is here for the reminder of, and I'm bad about this, I'll be completely honest, and I'm practicing it and I'm working on it, right? The fact that most of us come from the Christian background, write it out, make it plain. When it hits you, putting that idea on paper so that you can see it come to fruition exactly as you saw it. Now, the reason why I'm so bad about it, and I was open and honest with someone about this the other day, I'm the type of person that gets so many ideas and thoughts that I know I will do and have done. But it's like, for me, because I didn't get the results that I wanted to see, I stopped doing that. Now, it wasn't that I was getting negative results. I just was getting results that I didn't necessarily want. Now, what we have to understand in spiritual interaction is that you will be sent to do something, even though you view it this one way and expect this one thing. And yes, you should live your life in expectancy. It isn't always going to come out that way. Sometimes a little worse, sometimes a little better. And I've had those experiences come out just like that. Sometimes a little worse, sometimes a little better, every time. So sometimes there's a cycle of those misses, so to say. And you get a little disheartened by that. You can't let that defeat you enough to not go again and try again, or continue the same process that actually works when it works, right? So writing it down as it comes to you is of all the importance, because what the book describes, it may never come as it once came so clearly. So and that's how God works too. When we talk about the nature of spirit, right? So consciously understanding that my subconscious works the same way, I have to make sure that I treat it the same, right? So yeah, that's what I have for my first 2 points, which are initially or essentially one, right? Now, they hate what they can't be, but they will use it. Now let's get this straight right off the bat. I don't mean that to any one group of people. And I say that because the lane that I'm in consciousness, a lot of this information does derive from Afrocentricity, right? So when you talk about the nature of this information coming from Aboriginal people, you do have some extremists who, I don't even want to use the word, but you guys get what I'm alluding to, right? That's not me. I'm pro-black, but I'm not that, right? And it's because even stemming back to something I said in my last day in Wavo World, talk about melanin, we're all derived from it, every last one of us, right? We have higher volumes of, because we're directly from the descendants of those people. But when you talk about this other group of people, they come from us too. And to truly become of understanding and overstanding, much less understanding of what I just said, one would have to be conscious enough to not only exit the one book that they're learning out of, but enter another to learn, what I'm stating or what I'm referencing in nature to the Yacub theory. And then there's another story that alludes to it, to exactly what I'm talking about in nature of all peoples being derivative of essentially one body of people. But over time, we all go to these different regions and areas of life, and climate changes skin pigmentation over time. So again, when I say they hate what they can't be, but they will use it, I mean it in reference to all opposition. And again, let me reiterate that a little more or expound. There's people who aren't of color who know this information a lot deeper and better than we do, than most of us do. And some people, because they're just finding out about this thing, would rather hear it from a person of color. Understandable. However, you can't knock them for tapping into the knowledge and information that they have, because they have enough, should I say, for them to tap into it as they need to. Now, while we are so feared, again, because we have it in high volumes, so when you talk about what we are capable of with it, if we knew 40% of what a lot of that culture knows about our culture by leaps and bounds, that's just all I say, by leaps and bounds, our strength would be amplified. Let's just say that. But it's just funny because I was watching something by Brother Bobby Hemmett, and I don't remember what lecture it was. It was just saying how the ancestors knew that at one point us as a people would come to such a degraded mind state, which is dumbed down, that we would need those people to give us back in bits and pieces what we once gave them, so that we could rise back up in consciousness, not necessarily in status, because we've done the king and queen and God thing on this earth once. It's not for us to do that again. It's for a whole nother journey, and people get that confused too. But that's another day worth of conversation. And I keep looking at my watch because I have a dentist appointment I don't want to be late to. But yeah. So when I say they hate what they can't be, but they will use it, I'm speaking directly to the opposition, the oppositional force and energy that opposes people who are for this, who are standing up for collective consciousness and growing that, even those people too, because we're going to need them. We're going to need really all peoples who are really in this genuinely to step up for it, because if you pay attention to what's going on in the world, then the reason why I said it'll be so up and down and back and forth on how I'm talking today, there's so much distraction going on from us finding this out. And you have to be aware of that. Like, just to throw it out there, we have the whole, and I hate to say it like this, but the whole Cat Williams debacle. Don't get me wrong, he's talking some real truth. But when you talk about how these people are dragging it in a certain way, just to keep you distracted from what's really going on in the world and in life, from keeping you from being tapped into information that's fruitful to you. Again, don't get me wrong, Cat dropped some gems in the lane of consciousness, honestly. But what they're taking it to is pure entertainment at this point, because a lot of people have missed it, right? So that's just a media concept, right? So then we talk about the news. All I've been hearing about lately is this recent alien sighting, or extraterrestrial sighting. I guess that's the proper way for me to say it. But what I know, and what most people know, and what they know, there's a branch, or I don't know whether to call it a branch of service, but there's I really don't know what to call them. Let's just say a branch of service called the Galactic Federation that has held a seat with the United Nations since 1970 something. Maybe even before then. I'm not quite sure. But consider, if aliens didn't exist, if extraterrestrials wasn't something that they knew were here back then or a long time ago, what would be the purpose in even having these people sit at a seat of the United Nations? And I'm saying that to say, like, when you don't know this type of stuff, you just don't know not to be drawn into the stories and how not to pick through what's what, so that you know how to prepare yourself for whatever's to come. And that's when I get to preparation. Again, I'm gonna mix the last couple together, and I'm giving me like 7 minutes is all I really got left in time. I'm sorry, y'all, but one of the largest things I took away from what Kat said was Mark Zuckerberg either is building or has built an underground bunker worth 2.7, I don't know if it was million or $1 billion. When I sit here and consider that, what are these people preparing for? Because he's not the only one. And he's also not the only one within a 10 to 7 year span either that's done that. So when you talk about just the climate of our nation right now, what it looks like, just having your eyes open to what's really going on. So when I say all these things align, recognizing spiritual interaction enough to use that third eye to say, hey, there's something deeper than what we are being told is necessarily happening right at this moment. Feeling that, not only, it's not even just feeling that in your mind, like in thought, but in your gut. Most people have been talking about this shift that happened coming into the new year, that they could actively feel it. And I can't deny that for myself either, like, not at all. So when you talk about most of us who are into consciousness have felt that shift and noticing all these different things, but still falling for the bait, there's a preparedness that we should be having right now. There's a preparation that we should be working on and toward. It's crazy that, all of this craziness landed me here in Georgia, because working up to that point, I was actually like stocking up on food and ammo and, stuff like that. Let's just keep it at that. I don't want to say too deep, because there's things that I understand. Never know when, but there's things culminating to a pot that we need to pay attention to. And so when it's spoken to us to move in certain ways, might want to start moving like that. And I don't mean that just negatively. I mean that positively too. During this time, live your life. Definitely live your life, because we don't know how long before whatever set plan goes into action. But if you can't see it, it's because you're not wanting to. It's coming very obvious and blatant, you know. Generations below me, that Generation Z and so on and so forth, just look at the culture of it. And it's just a lot, you know, just a whole lot. You know, but if you're not paying attention to what's what, you don't know what's what. So I'll keep it at that for today, right? I'll double back to say that again, they hate what they can't be, which is the oppositional force. You know, a saying that I have a friend of mine use all the time. Shout out to Jew. All skin folk ain't kinfolk. So just thinking that you can trust another because he's a brother, it ain't like that either. And thinking that you should distrust the next because he doesn't look like you have no clue. You have no clue, you know. But just speaking to that directly really quickly before I get up out of here. Most of them do know our power. You know, talk about that other side, that other group of people. And the reason why I say they will use it, simply put, they don't have enough of it to use it to the magnitude that we can. So when you talk about, just think about why we're the face of everything. Literally everything. Your commercials, your products, your just everything. That's with a reason. If we don't validate it, ain't no reason for it to be sold, told about, talked about, or viewed. They know that. It's a lot that goes along with that, but I'll leave it there too, right? But above all, becoming conscious. When you talk about this conversation today, becoming conscious is really a collective of noticing and becoming aware of your spiritual interactions, seeing those distractions to know how to handle them, becoming aware enough to know that you can receive your information from literally anywhere when you know that the vibration is right. Doesn't matter what it looks like or what it's said supposed to be, quote unquote. You know, and distractions come in all types of, you know, shapes, sizes, and situations. So just be on the lookout. Just be safe out here. Just be prepared. Be prepared. Be prepared. Be prepared overall. You know, there's a lot of things going on in the age of Aquarius. You know, and the age of Aquarius is the age of Aquarius is the age of information. A lot of this stuff they can't hide anymore, right? So it's coming out so fast and so vastly to a point where it's up to you, you know. But yeah, like I said, I ain't gonna keep you too long today. Hopefully I don't miss my dentist appointment. But above everything, y'all stay up, y'all stay safe, you know, and y'all stay prosperous, you know. Love.